In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make a giant epoxy inlay. As you can see, we're starting with the color gray. This is going to be the background color of the actual inlay. Once we've got that poured and cured, we now have to go back and flatten it so that we have a nice plumb surface across the entirety of where we're going to be carving the logos. We're going to be doing some pockets. We're going to be doing some V-carves in the logos, and we just want to make sure that the entire area is nice and flat. You can see there's a pretty big low spot in the center portion of that. Now when I go back on this third pass of the flattening pass, you can see that it pretty much takes all of it out. So once we've done that, we're ready to set up the next portion of the file of the logo and cut out the next, start cutting out the colors basically. What we're cutting out here and going to be filling here in a minute is the black background behind the pistols and the skull that's in the logo. So as this comes along, you'll really be able to see what that logo looks like. But the purpose of flattening it again is so that we can have a nice plumb surface all the way across the entire material where we're going to be cutting different elements of the logo. I always like doing my detail pass first with my 1/8 inch bit and then come back with a larger bit to really clear out the rest of the material. That helps to prevent any chip out on the epoxy along the edges from a larger upcut bit hitting it, while it's going. So here we're actually filling the black. This is the black background behind where the skull and the pistols are going to be. Once that's cured, again, you can kind of tell here, but we've gone back and flattened it one more time to make sure that, again, everything is nice and plumb. There's kind of a low spot there you can see on that pistol on the left side. So what I did with the elements that are in that area, I just started them on a V-carve with a start depth of 0.01 so that all of those elements would just cut a little bit deeper. So now I can take my zero basically off of one position and carve basically the entire logo and not really necessarily have to worry about, is this letter on this side, on the left side, going to look exactly the same as the letter on the right side, because I know the entire surface is nice and plumb. This is something that I talk about in my course teaching this style of epoxy inlay. I call it a background inlay, where you start with the background color, you flatten it, and then you carve the rest of the elements that are involved in that logo. Again, it's something that I go over in my epoxy inlay course. Here you can see all of what was being cut was just the color white. So everything that we're going to be doing here, all the actual epoxy work, is just white. I like to do these one color at a time, especially if I have more than one color close to each other or touching each other. If they're touching, you obviously can't do them at the same time, but if they're close to each other, you can. So at this point, we're going to go back and cut some more elements, some green elements, some gray elements. There's a little bit of gray in the skulls and some green stars and whatnot. So that's the toolpath that you're seeing now. And then there's also some textured kind of portions of the handle of the pistols. You'll see on the final how it looks with all of that, all the different colors there. You can kind of see in this angle the brown in the handle, the green on the young guns at the top and the border, and now we have the very final, which is a black border to fully encompass it. So at this point, after that final color has been cured, we went back and followed the same flattening procedures as we did in the beginning, taking off little by little at a time, and then did some finish sanding. Sanded it with 80 grit, sanded it up to about 180 grit, cleaned it really good with some isopropyl alcohol, and then did our top coat procedures, which is polyurethane and our diamond tough top coat. So what you'll see here in a minute right now is the final look of the product, fully done. The platform's put together. You'll see a close-up here of the logo. There we go. You can see all the colors, all the details. Looks really great. Awesome.